it's time for our Storytime Craft. And this week, because we just finished reading about a gnome who had a hard time growing a beard and then he turned into a beard groomer, we are going to be making our very own gnome. This is called a Swedish gnome. That's how come you don't see his eyes. And you get to pretty much make him your own personal designer beard. So you can make it as fancy or as simple as you want. So if you pick up your craft packs, inside you're going to find a little rectangle of colored paper. You should find a little tiny puff ball, toilet paper roll, and then a giant full-size sheet of paper. Some of them are white, some of them might be colored. And last but not least, some white felt that will become our gnome's beard. Some extra things you will definitely be needing is some glue or glue dots, a glue stick. Tape comes in handy. Scissors. And if you want to add some drawings and stuff like that, something to write on your gnome with. All right, so let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is color our little gnome's body. So similar to like our rockets and some of our other crafts we've done, we're just going to roll our colored paper up on here. I try to make one end at least a little bit even, and I like to put a piece of tape on there to kind of help hold that down. It just kind of helps place it. And then you just are going to roll it up like so. And then we're going to tape along that seam to hold it in place. And I usually will put one on each end and I fold it inside. I found that it kind of just helps give it a little bit more strength. Now, if you want your gnomes to be of varying different sizes, you can cut your toilet paper roll to make your gnome really short or really tall. So you can kind of play around with that. And I'm just finishing off taping along this seam so it's good and solid. So that's going to be the back of my gnome. Think of it as the zipper of your gnome's clothes. So the next part, this is probably the part I've struggled with the most in making it. This piece of paper is going to become your gnome's hat. Okay, so basically you're going to kind of make it so one corner faces you, and you're just going to start rolling that hat. And the object is you're making a funnel. And it can go lopsided and crooked and be a little messy because our gnomes have slightly messy hats. So we just roll it until we're all done rolling. And I really struggled with this. And I had some help from some of my other library friends on how to get this thing all done. And there we go. And if you have a better way of doing it or somebody has a trick, by all means go for it. So the little tab up here, I'm just going to put a little piece of tape on there to hold that in place. Otherwise it'll all unroll. And I just like to try to fit it. Yep, so far so good. Now, if you want to, you can leave it all pointy, or you can take your scissors and trim it up, which is what I did with this one, to make it a little bit even. And the other thing you want to do is you can kind of crease it, and you can bend it and give it character. So if you want your hat to be tall and pointy and straight, it can, or it can be a little topsy-turvy, which is what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of bending it in random places and giving it a little crease so that he has kind of like a little personality about his hat. It's a little crookedy and it's got a little personality. Now, I will tell you, when you go to trim this hat, if you decide to trim it, it's important that you just double check it every now and then, make sure it still fits over that toilet paper roll. So that's very important. I'm just going to kind of even this up here. And it's okay if it's a little crookedy still. Like I said, this hat has lots of personalities, just like our beards on our gnomes. And if you recall from all the books that we read this week, the whole point is about being your own person and happy with who you are. And we'll try that again. There we go. And you can just adjust it. I like kind of like the seam of my hat going towards the back. But again, you make it however you want and play around with it. So we're just going to sit this to the side. So that's our hardest part. Now the next part we're going to do is we're going to take our little felt and we're just going to kind of cut around on it like so to get you whatever shapes you want. And so here's kind of a design I have. I'm kind of going with a little bit more artistic-y looking one. It's a little squiggly. You can shorten it, make it long. I cut some little slits on this guy to give it a little bit of a fringe. So I might do that even with him. And it's just taking little slivers of that felt and turning it up like that. And then I just pull it out and you'll get like the little slivers on there. But whatever you want to do with your beard, so this is where you get to really play and have some fun. If you want to cut them all into like angles, I'll show you on this one. If you want to cut it into strips, like something like that, you can have a little whiskery beard or something. So show me, be creative with it and see what you come up with. And then as usual, send me a picture because I want to see what all you did. Now, once we got our beard all how we shaped and liked it, you are going to do the hardest part of all of our crafts, get the glue, and I just put it along the top seam. And if I can get my glue going, you guys should know by now, this is my biggest struggle of every video. There we go. And I just kind of put a little layer up here at the very top. Now, if you want to do the whole beard, you can, but it's really not necessary. I kind of like it loose. And then you're going to match that up to the top of your cardboard, like so. He's got a really nice long beard. That's a beard a gnome can be proud of. And I just kind of push it in place. And if you want to do any more trimming, you can. And then once you got that on there, it feels pretty solid. Then you're going to add your hat. And I kind of do from the front to the back so that I can capture that beard in there. And it's just going to slide down real nice and neat. Like so. So you can kind of see the gnome taking shape there, can't you? And then the last step is a nose, because noses usually stick out through your beards a little bit. So now, one thing I did discover is that these pom-poms like to fall off a ton. So if you're going to use regular glue on it, just lay it down and let that gnome nose dry on there really good. Otherwise, you're just going to constantly be putting it back on there. So as always, when you're dealing with glue, be patient. Now, when I do my glue, I actually put a little bit of it up on the hat and down on that felt. And I give it a pretty healthy dollop because we're dealing with so many materials that like to absorb the glue. And then you just take that little pom-pom, stick it right on there, and then practice a lot of patience, which I don't have a lot, especially when I'm doing your all's videos. And then if you want to, for a finishing touch, you can add a little mouth. I'm using just a regular Sharpie. We'll make him a little small smiley face. If you don't want a mouth, that's okay too. And there you go. That's all there is to it. And we'll leave him laying there so that his little nose can dry. I don't think I can stand him up. That might fall off. But see, there's your little gnomes. And like I said, because it's with toilet paper rolls, you can make as many of them as you want. Make the beards as fluffy. You can use cotton balls, yarn, anything you have at your house, even more paper. So send us a picture. Let me see what your creations are. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Alrighty, bye-bye.